Do not be persuaded by strangers or individuals you do not know well to take articles aboard your flight. You are also reminded that any inappropriate remarks or jokes concerning security may result in your arrest. We appreciate your cooperation while these measures are in effect.
Let's talk to John in Oklahoma. John, you're on the air. Thanks for holding. Then we're going to go to Cupcake. Welcome, John.
Hey, just got off the phone with TSA after getting re-fired up about the little detention pods, and asked them about the security announcement that they played there in Houston, and just to find out what the guidelines were. And it ended up, I recorded the conversation, it ended up that they really don't have any guidelines. It's pretty much up to the officer's discretion.
Thank you for contacting TSA. Please stay on the line for the next available customer service representative.
Thank you for holding. Now, the information that I have, I don't have, like, of course, specific things that you can or cannot say. I mean, if you decline screening or refuse to complete screening process, or, I mean, and a federal regulation prohibits interfering with, assaulting, threatening, or intimidating screening personnel as they perform their screening duties, I mean, you could be fined up to $1,500, and you may receive a civil penalty. I mean, I highly don't suggest that you do that.
Well, I guess it just seems kind of. I guess there's really no guidelines then. It's just kind of up to whatever screener, if he doesn't like.
I mean, of course, it's going to be up to the officer. I mean, if you're making...
Well, they're not an officer. They're a screener. They're not an officer, even though they call them officers.
No, they're a Transportation Security Administration officer.
Oh, okay.
They just don't have the ability to arrest somebody. They do have the ability to detain, and officers do respond.
Okay.
And you may be, you can receive a civil penalty up to $1,500. That's if you refuse to cooperate. If you threaten, assault, interfere, or intimidate personnel as they do their duties, then, yeah, you can receive that penalty.
Yeah, that would be reasonable for anyone. I mean, I couldn't assault or do anything to a regular citizen, much less a government person. Okay, so there really aren't any guidelines?
I mean, there's not, like, specifics that you can't or can say to an officer. It's basically if they feel that you're doing any intimidating or assaulting or threatening or anything.
Well, the announcement says
interferes.
The announcement says jokes.
You are also reminded that any inappropriate remarks or jokes concerning security may result in your arrest.
Okay, what would be an example of that?
An example?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, sir.
Okay.
I mean, if you say that you're going to blow up an airplane, or, you can't joke like that. That's something you can't joke about. Even though it may be a joke, that's something that they take serious.
Okay. All right, but if you say some comment about, like, we're living in a police state or anything like that, what would they think about?
Like I said, if the officer sees that you're interfering or intimidating him, then they can absolutely, serve you with that civil penalty.
Okay. Now, what was the arrest part about? That's a criminal charge. So, what would they be charging someone with?
I don't have the specifics on what you can and can't say to an officer.
Okay, so it's pretty wide open then. They just don't. If they don't like the way you cut your hair, they can say you said something to them that they didn't like and fine you.
I'm not sure that that's what I meant by that, sir. It's not based on what they think you look like. It's what you're doing.
Uh-huh. Okay. All righty. Well, I guess that answer's as good as I can get. So there's really no guidelines on there as to what's gonna put you in jail. There's no real law against freedom of speech, I don't think. Obviously you can't
like
yell
said,
fire in a crowded theater.
If they think that you're interfering or assaulting or threatening or intimidating, it's going to be up to them.
Okay.
And there is surveillance. I mean, to back it, it's whatever they think, I suppose that I don't have information on what will set them off, or so that's all the information that I have.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye.
This is literal intimidation now. If you make a joke, if you say you don't like something, we're going to arrest you. Well, I say then let them do it. Let's go to court. Let's sue everybody. This is the new civil rights movement. They are trying to treat us all like slaves. We are going back into slavery. Everyone is going into slavery. That's what governments always try to do. It's happening now. This is a conspiracy by the technocrats, by the ruling elite, by the eugenicists that want to dumb us down. This is the iodine conspiracy. Our government wasn't always a eugenicist-based predatory group. Back in the 1920s, the federal government pressured salt manufacturers and bread producers to add iodine because they knew that iodine deficiencies were causing massive decreases in IQ, birth defects, and it was a health crisis all across the United States and in Europe as well. In the decade after iodine was added to staple foods, there was a 15-point increase in IQs in the areas that had previously been deficient. So what did the federal government do a couple decades later? They took the good halogen iodine out and added another bad one, bromine. And they put the worst of the group, fluoride and fluorine derivatives, in our water supply and began using it as a pesticide on the crops. Let's be clear about this. Adding bromine to the food supply is banned in the EU, banned in Canada, and banned in many other nations because it is a toxic poison listed in those countries. I've done deep research on the globalist program to dumb down the population to make us more manageable. It is eugenics. And I personally take the highest quality form of unbound iodine, nascent iodine, in a kosher certified, non-GMO certified glycerin base. I've interviewed the experts, people like Dr. Brownstein and pharmacist Ben Fuchs, and of course, Dr. Edward Group. And across the board, the consensus is iodine is the missing piece of the puzzle. And not just iodine, but high quality, unbound, pure iodine. Bottom line, this is something on record our bodies need. I've gone out and found the best source for myself and my family. I hope you'll visit InfoWarsLife.com and get our InfoWars Life Survival Shield. It really does incredible things. And we've gotten nothing but positive reviews from our listeners. And this also helps support our news operation and the info war while we get the iodine we need and block the fluoride and the other members of the halogen that are so bad for our bodies. Check out the information. Do the research for yourself. Talk to your physician and then decide whether you want to drink fluoridated water that Harvard, major studies admits is giving people brain cancer and bone cancer and lowering their IQ, or whether you want to find a high quality source of iodine. Consult your physician, do your research, and make a decision. But whatever you do, don't just ignore this message, because all of my research shows this is absolutely key to getting people out of the brain fog that they've been artificially put into by the social engineers. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today.